Welcome back to the channel for our little side segment, Two Jews Talking.
That's
Amanda,
us.
how you doing?
How are you doing?
Well, the fucking elephant in the room is Israel going after Qatar, and I'm sick of hearing the narrative that we bombed. It was a surgical strike on one building. Yeah, it's a sovereign state, but legitimate target. Would you agree?
So, well, sovereign state alone kind of makes my hair stand, but sure, I guess in the global scale, we can call it a sovereign state. It's funny that that legitimacy is in question, but Israel is constantly. But I guess, that's a side. No, it was a targeted, first of all, we're not bombing anyone indiscriminately.
Nope.
There's a reason for it. If people even know the briefest of information, go look up like the makings of Qatar, how Qatar influences the world, influences the Middle East. I mean, it's really not hard to figure out.
I think it's 147 billion in the last 21 years. It's been funneled into the US educational system, buying favor and currying favor at the highest level of Ivy schools.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and it's also kind of funny that everyone's painting for the past 2 years, almost 3 years now, that the sympathy goes only with Palestine because poor Palestine, they have no defense, they all this. But now that same sympathy is going to go to Qatar. Qatar has plenty of money and plenty of defense, offense. I'm quite confused as to where the sympathy. I mean, is it just what, as long as it's Israel against anyone, let's just be against Israel? Is that pretty much the narrative here?
Even like playing devil's advocate and looking at it from the perspective of the Americans, Donald Trump has basically sat on the fence and been a little bit wishy-washy about it, where,
Oh yeah.
this isn't going to do relations any good.
Yeah.
And this is one of our allies, Qatar. I I've seen footage that suggests, and Jonathan Conrinkus, the spokesperson for the IDF, he came on
Mhm.
TV this afternoon, and by all accounts, it was only when the Israeli Air Force was entering Saudi airspace
Yeah,
that
of course.
the Americans got wind of what was happening. So the
Hmm.
Americans weren't involved. It was an Israeli mission,
Yeah.
and I believe a turning point in the war.
Well, I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I also think with Trump specifically, it's strategy. I mean, what he does know, what he doesn't know, what he can control. I mean, maybe they told Trump it was going to happen. Maybe they told him it might happen. He's been issuing warnings for the past few days, but either way, it's not really Trump's decision. So, and as far as trade goes, yeah, they do trades with Qatar. Qatar isn't a Qatar that just offered him that like $2 billion airplane and okay, but they also do a lot of trade with Israel, a lot more trade. It's a much more important ally. So that
It's
is a little.
huge. The amount of arms that Qatar buys from the States is something quite phenomenal. Same as Saudi Arabia, the deals are massive. The US Air Force Base outside of Doha is ginormous as well.
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
what trips it all up for me is when America flew two Apache helicopters and one of them crash landed in Bin Laden's compound and they killed Bin Laden and they killed his brother and they killed one of his wives. I think one of his children as well.
I'm sure.
No
Yeah.
one said shit about that.
No, no, they were cheering.
Is Pakistan not a sovereign state?
I would believe so. I mean, that's how I grew up learning in school that it was a sovereign state. Yes. But it's selective, right? Look what happened in 9/11. I mean, even on a more local scale, look what's happening in New York City. So the city that had 9/11 and said we won't forget is now about to elect a mayor who is not only conspiring in supportive of jihadist state not only he makes my skin crawl, I'm sorry, but not only that, I mean, even it's New York City. You have 9/11 in New York. Like, wake up. What are you doing? So, I mean, that's to me also a big part of globalizing the intifada. I mean, it's not necessarily all murder, but it's right there in New York. So, I mean, if they can forget, I digress, but if they can forget about it, then I'm sure the rest of the world, I mean, they just forget over there too what happened and what went on? I mean, I
Is there a line to be drawn, a connection? You know, I thought there'd be more of a poignant date for this to happen on.
well, I would think so, but I don't know. Is there a bigger reason? Is there, I don't know. I know they've already entered Gaza a few days ago. They've already started out. So I know that over the weekends, the past weekend, we had Putin meeting with, sitting down with Kim Jong-un, and I don't know. Lots of things are happening. Putin also bombed the Ukraine again. I mean,
Hit
again,
the
this is
yeah,
the
a
first stop, but it
government
was a big target. Yeah.
government building.
So, I mean, it doesn't, you don't need to be a conspiracy theorist to start to question, do all of these things, their reason why now? Like, why the specific, I don't know.
Israel gets to be under a microscope and scrutinized.
Mhm.
Yet when Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was killed,
Mhm.
Trump did his infamous, almost like Shane Gillis says, a post-match interview. Abu Bakr
Yeah.
al-Baghdadi is dead. He died like a dog. Now,
No,
it's not like Bibi's come on TV and gone, Khalid Marshall died like a
no,
coward, or
no, no,
Abu Mazouk died like a coward,
no.
or
A lot
Jabrini.
of Israeli influencers have been making those statements, but no,
Yeah.
you don't hear that from Bibi. No,
No.
no.
So I think the difference in rhetoric and opinion has changed so much now. It's so left field as compared to anybody else. If Israel's involved, it's big news. The coverage in the UK has been extremely biased, especially by Sky News, which doesn't
Yeah,
surprise me.
it's just gross, really. I mean, gross, and it's what we always go back to, like, or it's almost like people are comfortable being stupid or ignorant. Like they just really don't care. They're too lazy to even like, I mean, you don't need to be a scholar, but like I would think if you're influenced to the point that you're protesting or posting things even online, don't you want to know, like, even it doesn't need to be biased. Don't you want to know like basic facts before you form such opinions? And I mean, I don't even know what people think about what, like, it's literally just that they heard Israel did something and that's it. Like they don't even care to learn why, what, who was involved. Like they don't care. It's just like Israel bombed them again. Like
If they took a
like
second to realize as well, it could possibly be the head of the snake's just been cut off.
exactly.
They won't be able to function. This is a huge day. It's a turning point, in my humble opinion. It's a turning
I
point
agree.
in the war in Gaza, and I don't see Hamas lasting another week, 10 days, and it'll be done.
Well, this should be a signal.
I have seen reports though saying that they survived, but
Well,
I don't believe that.
I I don't see how. I mean, I don't, unless they like knew ahead of time and escaped, I don't see how they could have possibly survived. I mean, it Israel again, if people, which it's fine if people don't know, like Israel doesn't just strike indefinitely. Like if it was a targeted the way it was and it was like I'm quite confident if Israel's confident that they got them, then they got them. Like
For fuck's
it's
sake, if you was a
yeah.
terrorist anywhere around Israel right now, you'd be thinking, I'm staying way out of sight because when Israel goes after you and Shin Bet comes after you knocking on your door, you're getting got.
I would hope that this is at least a warning to them, at least indicative. I don't know. I mean, you're never going to get rid of them completely, but this might be a good time to contemplate at the very least releasing the hostages. Let them go, let the rest of them go. Flee if you have to, whatever it is, just let them go now because now this whole situation is causing more turmoil for the families of the hostages.
Yeah.
They're even more worried now. And I mean, quite frankly, I don't like going against anything that the families, because they're the families, they're the survivors. They know, like my opinion is irrelevant compared to theirs. But at this point, I mean, we all feel that things should have been handled immediately and the war might not have gone to this point. And should they have done this and should, but it's too late for that. But at this point, what is Israel supposed to do, even from the hostage family's point of view? I mean, they asked for the hostages back. Again, Hamas said no. So what? They should just sit there and wait and hope they change their mind in another, what, 3 years? I mean, now is when they have to do it.
That's the only thing is on my mind is the families.
Yeah.
You would suspect now that Hamas will maybe do the worst, at least suspect it anyway.
Well,
I'm sure the
yeah,
families have been preparing themselves for this day for the last
I would
700.
imagine so. I can't I can't think, but I would imagine so. And I mean, Trump kind of also let it slip. I mean, there was no confirmed numbers. We don't believe numbers from Palestine anyway, but there was no confirmed numbers. But until a few weeks ago, everyone was under the impression 48, and they just left it at that. But I mean, since Trump spoke, we know that at least half of them are not alive.
Yeah, I
They're
think
not,
there's 20 alive.
yeah. So I mean, but I think the new threat now, barbaric threat, is what? That will hide the body. You'll never get the bodies back. So adding, just the worst you could possibly do, not even give them back the bodies. I guess that's the last straw, the last threat, and unfortunately, or kill everyone else that could possibly be alive.
We've proven in 2005 how important the actual dead, the buried, are to
Oh,
Israel.
yeah,
When we left
exactly.
Gaza in 2005, they actually dug up the bodies that were there and they
Yeah,
took them to Mount Wallace and they reburied them.
yeah,
And you have to say, be it this has been a long 700 days. It kind of still feels a little bit surreal, but
yeah.
I do believe we're at the end. I do.
I feel the shift. I mean, there's nowhere really, I don't want to say that. I'm very superstitious. I don't want to say there's nothing left they could do, but I mean, this feels like this is the end. This is now the cleanup time, or however you want to phrase it. I don't know exactly where they go from here. But yeah, releasing everybody would be a good start. I should remind people who forget also when Barack Obama and his team took out Osama bin Laden, even though he was a terrorist responsible for unimaginable horror to his own people and to the American people, he was still given the honor of having a proper Islamic burial.
Yeah.
So if the world could, then maybe, the world can take a little and understand that we want our people home, dead or alive. We want them home. So proper burial. It's the least that we should be asking for at this point.
I think that's
Three
a really,
years.
I think that's a really poignant time to leave it. Thank you for your
Yeah.
time. Two
Have
Jews
a great
talking.
night. Speak soon.
Bye bye.